Good morning, everybody. This is Patrick Lee, and it's time for Midweek Motivation Live. I hope everyone is doing fine this beautiful Wednesday morning. We will be back right after we watch this. Well, my. I hope everyone is doing good today. It's time for a great show. We're going to be talking to you about your dreams. The topic of today's show is your dream on life support. You know, here at the show, we do try to motivate you to success in every area of life. And one of those happens to be in your dreams and goals. We talk about your dreams and goals a lot here on the show, how they relate to your life in your family, your relationships, your church life, your business life. We want you to be successful in all of those areas. And maybe you are experiencing right now a lull in your life, a lull in your dreams. It seems like things are not going the way you want it. And let's just face it, okay? Everyone's going through something in life right now. And if you say you're not, I'm not going to say you're a liar. I'm just going to say you might need to slow down enough to take inventory of your life. But most people are going through something in life. It's a different world that we live in today than our parents lived when they grew up, and their parents before them. It's a different world. We have different expectations. We're experiencing different things going on. Many of the things that are going on, of course, the economy, sickness and disease, those things have been around forever. And they do go up and they do go down. But as we go through this thing called life, we are all going through something. Maybe you're experiencing something in your business that's caused a slowdown. Maybe something has caused your dream to be put on a back burner, and the business you were going to start, you've decided not to start based on the economy, based on some things that have happened in your life. Maybe sickness or disease has affected your life or a close family member. That's happened to me. Things have happened a lot in my life in the last couple of years. I've shared on the show repeatedly numerous times in the past, things that go on in my life. I give you snippets into things that I'm experiencing as well in my family, in my relationships, in my business. And the phone today, we teach you all the time about not watching, not checking your phone and social media when you wake up. And I had my phone actually away from me for over 2 hours. And I just looked at it. It's 10 o'clock here in the morning. And I just looked at the phone finally about 30 minutes ago and was pleasantly surprised that it had not been blowing up since 5 a.m. like it normally does. But there are a couple of things on there that are pressing that I need to address as soon as the show is over. And I will immediately start making phone calls at that time. But I got up and took a little bit more time to get up today and actually got centered, motivated, said some prayers, talked to God, and got ready to do the show, and really wanted to take the time to go over this with people. It's something that's been on my heart for a while, the things that we're going through in life. So we're all going through something. I watch a lot of different speakers. I read a lot. Just finished reading 3 books, which is pretty good for me because I get so busy with the cares of life that a lot of times I have to read a book on Audible, listen to it while I'm on a plane or going down the road. But just read 3 books in a row in paper, and I'm reading 2 more right now. And you may say, Patrick, you're like a squirrel. I don't know how you do all of that and run a business and have relationships, but you make time. Winners make a way. And you have to consistently keep learning what other people know. If you can buy a book, and put this in your mind, if you can buy a book that's going to tell you the experiences someone else has gone through so you can learn from that, and it costs you $14.99, isn't that a good investment? Do you have to live the life of mistakes that other person has made? Or would you rather read about it in a book and learn how to avoid those pitfalls? If you can learn the successes another person had and the steps they took to achieve those successes quicker, better, faster, isn't it worth $14.99 or $29.99 or $299.99 to buy the book that you can read. Constantly be learning, going to events, reading books, watching podcasts, listening to podcasts, such as Midweek Motivation Live. It's on all of your podcast platforms now. But I digress. Had to get that plug in there, right? Midweek Motivation Live now on all major podcast platforms. I love that. And I get notifications from Buzzsprout in my email letting me know how many downloads we've had, and they're growing quickly. I love that as well. People are downloading and listening to the show. So that's wonderful. But we are all going through things in life. And the show today is Your Dream on Life Support. I want to get through this. And we're going to talk out of a book called Secrets of the Richest Man Who Ever Lived. And you would say, Patrick, man, I want to know about that. Who was the richest man who ever lived? This is a book by Mike Murdock. I talk about him a lot because he's so wise. Has written hundreds of books on wisdom, on numerous topics. And this particular one I come back to regularly. Every couple of months, I'll pull this out and I'll go read through a couple more chapters because it's so grounding when it comes to learning about wisdom, about wealth and your finances and dream building enthusiasm. We're going to talk about that today. 31 Master Secrets from the Life of King Solomon. And you would say, oh, I knew you were going to find some way to turn this into a Christian thing. Yeah, it's a Christian thing, but it's a business thing. It's a Christian thing, but it's a life thing. Everything, and I've told you this before, every motivational book that's out there, and two of the ones that I just read are not Christian books. Barbara Corcoran's book, Things I Learned from My Mother, Things She Learned About Life. Great business book, not a Christian book. And of course, The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. Incredible book. While Ed Mylett is a Christian, he's not a Christian author. While he is a good Christian man, he's not a Christian speaker. He's the #1 podcast out there today, Max Out with Ed Mylett, and one of the most acclaimed speakers in the world. His book has just shot to the top as a bestseller and is an incredible book. I actually have copies of that on the way to 2 people right now that reached out to me when we did a show on that book. And then another book, the third book that is a Christian book, Faith Hounds by my good friend Will Mitchell. It just came out a couple of weeks ago and I got my copy in from his publisher and read it. Very deep and insightful book on faith, how to find out and search for the scriptures and the promises in the Word of God that will bless your life. Faith Hounds by Will Mitchell. I recommend everyone. If you want to increase your faith walk with the Lord, I encourage everyone to pick up that book as well. So, but today's book, Secrets of the Richest Man Who Ever Lived, is about King Solomon. Now, the world understands that King Solomon was one of the richest men who ever lived, and maybe without doubt the richest man who ever lived up until probably modern day. Some people have been made so wealthy in the oil-rich nations in the Middle East that their wealth may have surpassed that of King Solomon. But movies have been made, books have been written. He's a major character in the Bible. And King Solomon's Mines. How many movies have you watched growing up about King Solomon's Mine? The search for the lost King Solomon's Mines. Where were his riches buried? Is it in a South American jungle? Is it in Africa? Is it somewhere in the Holy Land? But we're going to talk a little bit about that and how he became the person that he became. Solomon decided to do something that had never been done. Solomon was an uncommon dreamer. Thus, the topic today of the show is Your Dream on Life Support. So let's talk a little bit about Solomon. Who was Solomon and how did he become the richest man who ever lived? He's one of the most famous names in history. He wrote songs and collected proverbs. Kings begged for an appointment with him. He was brilliant, articulate, and still very human, much like your humble host. Solomon experienced tragic failure in life, but he rose to such prominence that even Jesus mentioned him multiple times in the New Testament, thousands of years later. He was not a perfect man, but he was a productive man. We're fascinated by his life and how he was able to achieve such wealth. Solomon, of course, being the son of King David. King David wanted to build a temple to the Lord, and the Lord told David, I appreciate that, but you will not build me a temple. Your son Solomon will build me a temple. I don't know in the back of my mind if it's not because the temple to the Lord should have been so large, wealthy, and opulent that even King David himself did not have the wealth to build it. And it would take the wealth of King Solomon, who came along later in life, to be able to achieve a temple worthy of being the temple of the Lord God. But Solomon was wise. When God himself permitted one to be built in his honor, Solomon was who he chose to oversee the work. No one has produced an equal in the history of mankind, the temple. How wealthy was Solomon? Was he really the richest man who ever lived? In 1929, the Illinois Society of Architects did an extensive and meticulous study of the temple built by Solomon. Though the research was done almost 90 years ago now, 70 years ago when this book was written, over 90 years, going on 100 years ago, the experts placed its value at that time at $87 billion. Almost 100 years ago, $87 billion. When you figure in a basic 7% inflation rate per year, that would place the value of the temple alone worth more than $500 billion. How much did it cost to build the Burj Dubai in Dubai? How much does it cost to build some of these king's palaces in the United Arab Emirates? Some of the palaces in Saudi Arabia, some of these large places like that. When you start figuring in how much it costs to build them in today's dollars, how much would that cost be? And then figure this a couple of thousand years ago in Bible times, $87 billion worth of worth over 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago. Malcolm Burton has said that this amount at 500 billion is 4 times more than the nation spends on military defense every year. That's incredible. That's just the beginning. It does not include Solomon had his own personal palace aside from the temple. The temple was not King Solomon's palace. He also had real estate holdings all over the land and other valuable possessions, too numerous to mention. What an uncommon achievement from an uncommon dreamer. Do you think the average person could have put that down on paper, parchment, papyrus, whatever they wrote on in those days, and drew out the plans if he was not an uncommon dreamer, if that dream was not put into his mind by God himself? Have you ever stopped to consider the difference between $1 million and $1 billion? Let's talk about that for a second. You have dreams and goals, things you want to achieve in your life, and you say, man, I would love to be a millionaire. I would like to have a business, a dream, something I can build that would make me a millionaire. Do you know how many millionaires there are in the world today? Becoming a millionaire in many circles, especially in the music and entertainment industry, people with zero talent are becoming millionaires overnight simply because of the person that dreamed up a machine called the auto-tune, and they can put a beat behind anybody who can scratch out a couple of words, and that person can become a millionaire overnight. Someone who has been nothing more than an illegal drug dealer can put together 2 or 3 words, and they can mix that out. They can't carry a tune in a bucket and have no sense of tone, rhyme, or rhythm, but they become millionaires overnight. Why not you or me? What if we have a brilliant idea that would be appealing to the masses, and we simply don't have the big enough dream to get it to the masses? I'm not knocking everyone in the music industry. There are a lot of great people in the music industry, but those of you that know music know how frustrating it is to others that someone can become a millionaire overnight with very little talent simply because they have access to some technology, right? So becoming a millionaire isn't that hard. Why is it hard for you or you and I? Do we not have a big enough dream? Is our dream not big enough to motivate us forward? Or do we simply not understand the dream enough? Is it not big enough? Is it not clear enough? Are we not enthusiastic enough to bring that dream to its fruition, to life? So what is the difference between $1 million and $1 billion if the temple would cost $500 billion today? It said, and I haven't tried this because I don't have $1 million, But if you stacked $1,000 bills on this desk right in front of me, excuse me, if you stacked $1,000 bills totaling $1 million, that stack would be about 12 inches high. $1,000. $1 million is $1,000. $1,000 1,000 times, right? But $1 billion is 1,000 million dollars. So if I took that stack, 12-inch stack of $1 million times 1,000, that stack would be taller than the Empire State Building in New York City. That's $1 billion. And the temple cost 500 times more than that. I would say Solomon's the richest man who ever lived. That, my friend, is wealth. Solomon's personal palace took almost twice as long to build as the temple. That's incredible wealth. And it said that it was more opulent even than the temple. So there's 100 billion, maybe. That's a lot more than you or I, my friend, right? Is it possible even to imagine that much wealth? Solomon's life did also include failure. However, what life hasn't? Yours and mine. We talked about going through it right now. Scarred generals have a lot to teach naive soldiers. Men that have fought in battle and failed or barely survived have a lot to teach the young soldier that has never seen battle. An uncommon life is worth scrutiny. Uncommon leaders are worth knowing. Uncommon kings are worth studying. Uncommon dreamers are worthy of pursuit. Solomon was a dreamer, an effective dreamer, an unforgettable dreamer, an influential dreamer, and many dreamers are hurting inside these days. Many dreamers are often misunderstood. Many of us have heard of the dreamer that has never made a success out of his life. The boy that was a daydreamer in grade school, that was always looking out the window or reading comic books or adventure stories. How many of you were like that when you were a young boy? That was me. I would much rather be flying a starship to a foreign planet to fight Martians, or I would much rather be pretending I was outside playing war, running around with my friends making fake machine gun noises with a stick, pretending we were in battle. We were always doing something, pretending we were a cowboy somewhere, cowboys fighting the Indians in a great battle, achieving something, going on exploits, pretending you were Peter Pan or Cinderella or whoever it was you wanted to be as a child. And you had these dreams. But as you start getting older, you start developing dreams of success in your life. If you're a young lady, you may have this dream of having this dashing husband who pays all of the bills, and you get to be this lovely homemaker, housekeeper, and you're Susie Homemaker, right? And that's your dream. Maybe your dream was to grow up and find a husband that takes you arm in arm with him, and you both go out and start blazing trails, taking over the world as a power couple. And that's your dream. Maybe your dream wasn't to be married. Maybe your dream as a man was not to find a little filly and take her home and have this house full of kids, but maybe it was. Your dreams are your dreams. A lot of people now, their dreams are changing because life is changing. The world is changing. The environment we're in is changing. But if you have dreams, if you're a dreamer, if you believe that you have something that you want to achieve in life, don't you think you owe it to yourself to do it? Excuse me. The world needs what you dream. Trust me, the world needs what you dream about. We're always thinking of new, better, faster ways to achieve things in life. And if your dreams are wholesome and pure, and your goal is to help your fellow man, your fellow woman, the world needs that. It truly does. Dreamers provide jobs and income for those who refuse to dream. They stretch the imagination of everyone around them. They thrust average people into a zone of greatness, Mike goes on to say, yet they're often called money hungry, materialistic, or greedy. How many of you have said Elon Musk is just greedy? How many of us have said, Jeff Bezos is just greedy? The guy over there at Microsoft, Bill Gates, They say that money's the root of all evil, but it's not. It's the love of money that is the root of all evil. And if your love of people is stronger than that of the love of money, that money becomes a magnifier and does great things in this world. That amount of money allows you to employ many people. And on multiple levels, that amount of money with those people, the people that are working for you, the people that you employ, the people that are in your hire, that are in your care, you're helping them achieve their dreams too, because people have dreams on every different level. A lot of people's dream really is to finish school. And once they finish school, they want to get a good paying job somewhere so they can have the wife and the kids, the husband and the kids, or no kids and 6 dogs. You want to have a farm and raise chickens. Your employment of those people allows them to achieve their dreams. Maybe it's to cook a certain way, to live a certain way, to eat a certain diet. Listen, eating vegan, eating healthy isn't cheap. A vegetarian, it's not a cheap diet. If you want to eat clean and you only want to eat grass-fed beef and natural foods that are not full of steroids, that costs almost twice as much as the stuff that's full of steroids. It's expensive. So everyone has different dreams on different levels, things they want to do in life, ways they want to live life. And your employment of those people allows them to achieve their dreams too. But what do you do if your dream is on life support? What really is the secret of the greatness of Solomon and his unequaled attainment? Let's talk about enthusiasm. How important is enthusiasm? It's an important key to keeping your dream strong. The number one reason most people's dreams are lacking is because of their level of personal enthusiasm. I used to work at Keller Williams, and there's a lady at Keller Williams named Mo. And Mo was the enthusiasm queen. And whenever you would be on a call with Mo or watching a video from Mo, she would say this: if you want to be enthusiastic, you have to act enthusiastic. And she would follow it up with a big smile and she would repeat it over and over. If you want to be enthusiastic, you have to act enthusiastic. If you're enthusiastic inside, you might want to notify your face on the outside. How important is enthusiasm? It's an important key to keeping your dream strong. We're going to talk about 4 power keys to unleash the force of enthusiasm all around you. Anything neglected will deteriorate. It could be that vibrant marriage or your life's dream. Solomon understood the importance of motivating others. He continuously stayed in contact with builders, employees, and those around him who are involved in his dream. And I recommend you do the same. He knew that their enthusiasm depended upon his energy. Others' enthusiasm around you depends on your energy. Take that to note. That's number 1. Others' enthusiasm depends upon your energy. Their focus was kept alive and defined through your constant communication. The ancient writings all around the building of this temple record the things that were necessary for the fulfillment and completion of that dream. Solomon kept reminding the people of the greatness of his dream. There are many verses in the Bible that talk about dreams and visions, and one of them actually says to write the vision plain that people may run who read it. What does that mean? If your vision isn't plain enough, if it's not big enough, if it's not obvious enough, then the people that see it cannot understand it. You need to have it plain enough that people may run who read it. They can see the vision and they can run with it. They can pick it up. They catch that dream and they can run with it. It's that clear. And you're that enthusiastic about it. The 4 power keys to unleash the force of enthusiasm around you. Number 1, create a visual thing that shows the importance of your dream and keep that placed around you everywhere. Create things that show the importance of your dream. A lot of people talk about vision boards. I have done vision boards in the past. I'm not a huge fan of vision boards I've done 3 vision boards in the last few years. Mostly, well, let's say I've done 1 well and 2 halfway. So I'm not a huge believer in just having a vision board. Now, vision boards work great for a lot of people. You take this big piece of poster board and you go to books and magazines and print things off, and all of the things that are going to remind you of the things that you want in life. Now, 30 years ago, when I got married, over 30 years ago now, I joined a multi-level marketing company. And the first thing they did when you join that is they start teaching you to build your dream. And if you don't want to be motivated enough to build this company, then obviously it's because your dreams aren't big enough. So you start asking these questions in depth. What do you want to do with your life? If money was not an issue, what kind of a car would you like to drive? If you could live anywhere in life, where would you like that to be? Why would you like it to be like that? What kind of a home would you live in that location? You want to live on the beach in Florida? Okay. Do you want to live in a condo on the beach in Florida? Do you want to be right on the beach, or do you want to be off the beach? Oh, you would rather have a big house, a compound in Florida. You'd like to be near the beach, but not right on the beach. And you'd like to have it walled and have some palm trees. What kind of car would you like to have parked in the driveway? And that's how you start learning to dream build. So to build these dream boards, you would go you would find a picture of that car you wanted in a magazine, and you would cut it out and you would put it on your refrigerator. You would put a picture of that car on your mirror in your bathroom. And every time you looked in the mirror, you would see a picture of the car you want. And subconsciously, you would activate your RAS, your reticular activation system in your brain. And that causes you to start recognizing and following, keeping your dream plane, the things that you want in your life. So putting it together, a dream board has a lot to do with that. But not only just putting together a dream board, but creating things that show you the importance of your dream. If your dream is to build a children's hospital, would you put photos around your house and your office, and maybe one on the rearview mirror of your car of a sick child in a hospital bed? Maybe you would put photos of children in leg braces, but as they're actually up and walking around with leg braces, when that child happened to be battling cancer or had been in a wreck and wasn't able to walk, and now that child can walk with the help of leg braces while they're going through rehab from the hospital that you helped build. So you would put photos of this healthier child who is thriving based on the healthcare he's getting at your hospital. That would motivate you. If you want to have Airbnbs, I'm currently looking towards getting into Airbnbs. I have some investment properties. So I put pictures of things. I try to keep pictures of things around me that remind me of the kind of atmosphere I want them to have. And I'm constantly going online and looking at other Airbnbs, and I'm looking at decor, and I'm researching the kind of furnishings and the art and the things that I want to put in my Airbnb that would motivate others. And that may be something you want to do as well with my investment properties. I'm constantly talking to other people and looking at different ways that people go in and rehab these properties to bring them back to life and give that property a new future. I flipped a house a couple of years ago that had a very bad history. It was in a bad neighborhood and had a lot of drug activity and various things that happened there. And one evening we had multiple police officers in the property, and we thought we had found something illegal there. And we had numerous officers show up, search the property. It was vacant, but we had contractors in there and they'd found some things. And I immediately called the police, and the police told me to burn the house down. Shocking. You're like, what? Burn the house down. But I had this legal pad in there on one of the tables, a broken table that we were using as a little desktop in the property, just like this one, a legal pad. And on that legal pad, I had a list of all of the things that I dreamed about putting in that property and the plans that we had for that property. I knew the history of the property, and all of these police officers that were there told me, burn it down. This thing has a bad history. It will never have anything but a bad history. And you know what I told them? I said, I don't believe that for a minute. I have a dream for this property to have a new future. And we completed that property. And everything we intended to put in it, from new floors, new walls, new drywall, new central heating and air, new doors, new decorations, new light fixtures, new plumbing, new electrical, new counters, new cabinets. Everything was new in that house, new roof. And you know what the house has now? It has a family that lives in that, a family with children and love. And that house is thriving in that neighborhood. And it's a beacon to other homes in the neighborhood that you can redeem a house from evil, from bad. And if your goals are right, your dreams stay out there. I told them all, I have a dream for this house. I have a dream that this house will change this neighborhood. And I believe that it's still doing that today. I drove by it recently and it still looks as good as the day we finished it. It's a cute little house. And now I'm doing more. So keep things around you, create things that show you the importance of your dream. If your dream is to have a horse ranch in Kentucky, maybe you want photos of that out there, photos of horses, some gear. What kind of gear would you have? Maybe in your shop or even in your bedroom, you hang up on the wall, you hang a bridle to a riding horse, and that's your dream. And you got photos of the big grassy field, the bluegrass at Kentucky with the white rail fence and the long driveway going out to your horse barn. Maybe you have photos of that around to keep your dream alive. Number 2, take steps every day that bring you closer to your dream. How do I do that? Man, just take a tiny step. Read a book, go to a seminar, reach out to someone else who has achieved the things in life that you're reaching for, that you're dreaming about, and just have a conversation. Do research. Preparation beats motivation every time. I say that on the show frequently. This is midweek motivation, but part of midweek motivation is giving you midweek preparation, because preparation beats motivation. You know what luck is? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. If the opportunity arises and you're not prepared to reach out and grab it, wake up. That opportunity can leave you very quickly if you're not prepared. So always be preparing. Take steps every day that bring you closer to your dream. Number 3, assemble a support team that believes in your dream. Solomon did this. And like I said, it's not a Christian show. It's a business book, but it's a Christian book, because everything we do in life, all of the best motivational books that were ever written, all go back to Christian principles, all of them. Okay. So Solomon did that. Solomon assembled a team around him that supported the dream. The temple never would have been built if all of the people he hired were slaves that he beat into getting the temple done. If you have a dream and it's a worthy dream, I guarantee you others will catch that dream. If you can maintain your enthusiasm and you can paint the vibrant picture of what that dream is, it's a worthy dream. Others can catch on to that dream. I guarantee it. If it's a worthy dream, others will see its value. So assemble those around you, a support team that believe in the dream. How hard is it to move forward with a bunch of naysayers and, Debbie Downers or Danny Downers, whatever you call them? This is not a sexist show. How hard is it to get anything done with a bunch of negative people? Assemble a team around you of people that believe in you, that believe in the dream, that you paint the dream clear enough that they can see it and catch it and run with you. It's so much better when you're running forward together. So take steps to eliminate people in the dream building process that are not for the dream. Everyone who is with you is not for you. Don't forget that. And then number 4, realize, like I said before, that you are responsible for maintaining your own level of enthusiasm. If you want to be enthusiastic, you have to act enthusiastic. Your energy level, your enthusiasm is 100% up to you. I get up every day and I tell myself it's going to be a good day, and then I don't allow anyone to change my mind for the next 24 hours. And I challenge you to do the same. You are responsible for maintaining your own level of enthusiasm. How many of you know that it's so much easier to get motivated to move along with someone who is enthusiastic already, that has an energy level that's infectious, a personality that's infectious, and you say, hey man, I want to move along with that dream. There's power in that dream. There's energy. It gets me going. It does hit my RAS. It activates my RAS, my reticular activating system. And then everything you start to see is all part of that dream. When that dream is visible in your mind, you start seeing it manifesting in your life. There you go. Is your dream on life support? If it is, I hope this show helped wake you up a little bit enough today. Give it the shock in the heart that it needs to revive it. Get that dream up, wake it up, use your enthusiasm, use your energy, get excited about your dream again, get excited about where you're going in life. Go back to your big why. Why is your dream that important? Revisit that regularly. Put things in your life every day around you that remind you of your dream. Assemble a team of believers, people that have catched the dream with you as well. Remember, bonus tip, go to another event. Maybe there's an event out there that has something to do with your dream. Go to an event. And then finally, remember this: courage begins at the end of your comfort zone. This has been Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live. Until next week, we'll see you again. Bye-bye.